What habits are you holding on to? Tonight we're talking about vices. Let's go. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Not Safe for Sunday podcast. I am Josh, and joining us on the couch tonight is another special guest. Back-to-back weeks, special guest on the couch. We got Jake. What's up, Jake?
Not too much, man. Just living life. Thankful to be alive.
Have a roof over your head.
I actually said this at work in front of everybody. I said, I'm thankful to have a roof over our heads and a pen in my hand.
Yeah.
Because we take for granted, some people have to write in blood.
Ken?
just when you think you could script, read what he's gonna say like a script, you can't. He keeps us guessing.
Life is good, man.
Ken, what's up, man?
Just trying to think about what I would write in right now if I didn't have.
I don't think I've seen you laugh this hard on the podcast ever.
This is going to be the whole episode. Ken's going to get 3 words out and just
Jake
die.
to the left, I can't. All is well.
Yeah,
All is
that's
well.
good.
I can't complain.
Good.
My sweatshirt's a little tight. I grabbed the wrong one. It's actually John's. It's a medium. So I'm hoping I don't look like a stuffed sausage.
Good for you, man.
Oh, there's something you look like.
All right, now
on the camera.
Now quick cut to me, Johnny.
I've been losing weight.
Stuffed sausage.
Dude, you're wearing black. It's slimming.
And I just want to apologize now for any jokes that we made at your expense in the last episode.
I haven't got a chance to listen to it yet, so I'll be looking forward to it. It's all right. Listen, I got thick skin.
You're the host and you haven't listened to it?
Big shoulders. Listen, what I separate business and pleasure, okay? This is work for me. All right.
Speaking of work, he's a poom now.
I'm a poom now. I got a lot of big responsibilities.
Respect your district, poom.
Respect me. I know there's some of you that work for me that'll listen and respect me.
What is a poom, by the way, just for the listener?
Post office operations manager.
Post office operations manager.
Mm.
Or manager of post office operations, however you want to put
You're
those
the best looking
titles
poom
together.
I've ever seen, dude.
That's right. Don't you forget it.
So if you say it the other way, manager of post op.
Whoa,
manager,
what?
What are you, a mope?
Empoo.
Empoo.
But if you put the oven there, you're a mopu.
I did go to high school at Kickapoo in Missouri.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Kickapoo Chiefs.
Isn't that like a Tenacious D song?
It is. They actually did a song and they had Springfield, Missouri, and they did mention Kickapoo.
Nice. That's a good fact. That's a bar trivia.
Yeah.
In the booth, we have Daniel.
Here I am.
What's up, man?
Not too much, dude.
You're back in your safe space.
Yeah, I am. It's nice back here.
Yeah.
Got glass protecting me from the poom and from the writing in blood.
You're not into that?
I'm all right.
No?
I'll stick with my pen.
If you didn't have a pen, what would you write with?
I'll have to give that some thought. There's a couple things come to mind, but I don't know. I don't know if I can say it right now. You thought I was off the rails, dude. This kid's never been on the rails.
The rails don't exist.
Jake woke up today and he said, "Is this your second or third time on the couch?"
Second.
He said, "This is my second time on the couch. I am not going to be reserved like I was last time. I'm going for it."
Yeah, Connie told me to let it loose, so I'm letting it all
Connie
out.
told you.
Dude.
I have a hard time believing that.
I'll
but
believe that.
I do want to say
that
one
in
thing
writing.
because the last episode I actually did held back whenever I was talking about the whole homosexuality thing.
Two episodes ago?
Yeah,
this is 2 episodes.
2 episodes ago
Yeah.
with my son going to school, and I just wanted to say, like, there's a lot of groomers in these school systems that are never caught. It's a sad movement right now, and they have an agenda against what might be the agenda for your son or your daughter. So, yeah.
They call that a throwback.
That is a
Jake,
throwback.
your polars, you're like, this is why I can't tell when you're serious or when you're not serious, because you could go from like throwing feces to groomers in school in like an easy flip of a switch.
Right.
I know.
There
No
is-
transitions
yeah,
at all.
There is like no lineal connection.
You're like
dude.
throwing
Yeah.
feces. By the way, yeah, I really want to talk about my son and the groomers in school.
And carrot pants. We haven't gotten into that yet.
And I have a hard time that.
Yeah, hold on.
I have a hard time that Connie said she wants you to let loose.
She
because
did.
When you come up in conversation with Connie, she usually her first response is usually, "What do you do this time?"
Yeah. She's just waiting for me to say the wrong thing on the podcast at the wrong time and ruin the family.
That
name.
hasn't happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you said a right
No,
thing, is the
it hasn't
question.
happened. I've said all the right things at the right time.
Bruce LaRue's gonna kill me in the comments.
I'm well protected. Let's just put it that way.
He's coming for
You
you.
really are. You really are insulated.
Not by
You're-
you guys, but,
no,
but
you're a
by
fan
everyone else.
favorite.
No.
You're
I have a
fan
bubble
favorite.
around me, and
Yeah.
I
You're
love
like
it.
you're the Brian Scalabrine of this podcast. dude.
Crazy.
Yep.
You're not dropping any buckets, but the fans love you, dude.
Yeah.
Johnny, what's up, man?
Nothing much.
Did you expect a Scalabrini reference tonight?
No.
Did you bet on Kalshi?
Not from my poom.
That wasn't in the Kalshi bets, dude.
No.
Oh my goodness, what's up, man? What you been up to?
Nothing much, just hanging around,
Yeah,
chilling.
take the boat out yet?
No.
No. 2 years down. dude. That boat hasn't touched water once.
It's been a chilly spring.
It has been. It
Fish are
actually
still
has.
sleeping.
I'll give it to you. It has been a chilly spring. All right, tell us about Carrot Pants, Jake.
Oh, so yeah, carrot pants.
So Jake, hold on. Jake has a phenomenal idea to go along with sphinctery clothing.
Yeah.
We're
so
gonna. He's
let
gonna
me
pitch
tell you
it.
something about it. You know, there's going to be a limited of 100 pairs. So on each tag, it's going to be numbered 1 out of 100, and your legs are going to be carrots, natural carrot looking type things, orange pants, black natural. You know, not going around your curves, but they're going to be lines, black lines. And yeah, there will be buyers. I will say that there will be buyers. It will not fail.
Is it like a one size fits all, or
No, there's multiple sizes.
okay?
I don't know if I'll do
But
100.
you only have 100.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. You know, I might go the small, medium, large, extra large route, or I could, endeavor in other ways. Do you
I've
have
never
any
seen an extra large carrot.
options?
Will this come as kids sizes too?
No kid sizes.
Those are baby carrots.
The baby carrot line.
Thank you. That's actually that's a great. Thank you.
Josh is done.
That just sparks
That
more
wasn't
ideas. Thank
that
you,
wasn't
Josh.
a pitch idea, dude. That wasn't a pitch idea.
And if the consumer was wondering, like, in what situation would I be wearing carrot pants?
At the
What
gym.
would you say?
Planet Fitness.
Walmart.
No, not Walmart.
Now, will this carrot come with a bush, or will that be added when you wear it?
It's an attachment.
Just shut it down. now.
Serious question.
Bush socks.
I want to know though. Carrots taper off.
Yeah.
Is it we going and taper down to the feet, or is it going the other way?
Taper down to the feet.
Okay.
Then your socks are going to be the option that you're going to pick from.
Of what?
So there's upgrades.
Yeah.
What's going to be the
Technically.
socks?
Like green bushels.
No, you can't. That's the end.
That's the other
That's
way.
the top.
Oh,
dude.
my fault.
Do you know how
was tur-
carrots work?
I was
If
turned
you're gonna be
around.
the specialist in carrot
Have you
pants,
ever seen a carrot?
Yeah. We do. I will like to say though, baby carrots are a myth.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
That's actually true.
Yeah. I recently saw that, so I had to throw that out
Explain
there.
the baby carrots for the people.
They're dyed. They're just, aren't they?
No, it's just a big carrot that they shave down,
Yeah.
and then they make them small.
my life is
Yeah.
ruined. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sorry about that.
Crazy.
Yeah, I did know that. It's not. Yeah, they are a myth. They are a
I
myth.
look like a mess. My nose is watered. My eyes are watered. My eyes are red.
All right, if you want more of this, if you want more ideas like this, you want us to get this clothing brand off the ground,
Yep.
you got to go on to Buy Us a Coffee. BuyMeACoffee.com/NSFS podcast and donate. donate. Help us to make Jake's dreams come true and make some carrot pants.
It's more than a dream, and if I get enough donators, who knows? I could go full time with it.
If we get enough donators, we can go eggplant pants.
Carrots are gonna be the only veggie pants.
Carrots are out. Eggplants are where it's at. Oh my goodness. So please, if you like what we're doing here, buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/NSFS and donate to us today. And while you're doing that, and while you're watching this video, don't forget to go on and hit that like and subscribe button. Share us with a friend. You can find us on social media as NSFS Podcast. We had one comment that I really wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
This one came in late, so I wanted to talk about it. We had friend of the podcast, Denzel Nosen 3903. He says, Jake, calling your cat Blackie is wild to me, and then renaming the other cat the same name. It's crazy. It is a crazy thing to do.
Yeah.
He's onto it.
Yep.
He's onto it.
I know Kathy had stated that, it's a Portuguese thing, I think, in the last episode.
Yeah.
But I don't get the Portugueseness and behind it. Daniel, any intake on that?
Nope.
You'll understand.
You don't want to weigh in?
I will not be the Portuguese racist representative of the podcast. I'm okay.
Smart. Just say this. Just open up your history books.
Oh my god.
We'll just leave it at
It's
that.
being rewritten.
Tell us more.
Nope.
Oh my goodness. All right, boys. Well, tonight we wanted to talk about a topic that I think has affected probably every single one of us at some point in our lives, and that's vices, right? Vices in all different shapes and forms. I guess we can call it addiction at some level. We can call it compulsiveness at some level. The issue of vices in daily life, as a Christian, as a non-Christian, it really is something that really can control and take over your life in many different facets and forms. And there are many different vices and maybe even things that you don't really understand or comprehend to be a vice. And right now it's just really, I think you talked about Kalshi. Talked about Kalshi before, and I think that's really a really big thing that's happening right now. And to talk about gambling and I mean other vices like pornography and drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, anything really. So we really want to talk about that and unpack that. And Ken, you had brought up this topic. Was it something specific that came to mind, or did something come up?
Well, I'm watching, whatever terrible sporting event that's been going on lately, for Boston sports. So I was either watching the terrible Red Sox or the Bruins or the Celtics got expelled in the first round. And so when you're watching anything sports now, almost 100% of everything is brought to you by DraftKings or whatever.
Yeah.
Name them, because there's so many of them. And something that caught my eye was that I'm watching this, whatever, they're doing the Celtics pregame or whatever it was, and it's brought to you by, whatever, DraftKings or one of those. And then at the bottom, in all the fine print is all the 1-800 Gamblers Anonymous phone numbers.
Small.
Very, very, very small print. And it just is so striking to me that gambling has become just so accepted, in your face, legalized across the board, right? I think it's every state now. And how and you can literally bet on everything. And so it's so accepted. But basically, to justify how in your face it is, they have to put this little disclaimer at the bottom. So it's just this isn't bad, but if you're struggling with it, you can get help. It's such a contradiction.
Yeah.
It's so hypocritical. It reminds me of like when I was growing up, way more people smoke cigarettes than they do
Right.
now. And you'd have, cigarette advertising everywhere, and they could get away with it and do whatever they wanted as long as you put that little fine print Surgeon General's warning
Right. Oh,
on
yeah.
this on the
That's
side.
exactly where I was gonna
Like
go with
like
it.
don't if you're pregnant or this or that, don't do this. And so it's just when as a culture, and we've talked about this before, like a vice, an addiction becomes acceptable. They try to justify it all different types of ways, and they kind of clear their conscience just by like putting these little disclaimers as if that's going to do
Yeah.
anything for anybody.
Yeah, and it doesn't even stop at gambling. Like, just think about online shopping, right? Amazon. You put something in your cart, dude, right? And then you get hit with that reminder. Oh, this you still have this in your cart.
You get like 5 more emails like,
Yeah.
"Oh, did you leave this in
Yeah.
your cart?"
Yeah, and it's like that rush of like ordering something online and getting it in the next couple of days. Like, I know people that just like are in that constant cycle of like continuing to buy online. It's like day after day they have package after package after package.
Don't even know what shows up at their door.
Right.
They just pull up to the house and there's a package.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What did I order?"
Right. And it's like that thrill, like, because I've been there too. Like, I don't think I've been addicted to online shopping, but like, there's some type of thrill of like getting that box finally to your house and opening it up and like, oh, this thing's finally here. But that's a vice too. Like, and we've talked about pornography on this podcast plenty of times, and all the ways that's almost marketed to you, you know what I mean, through reels and things like that. It opens up the door. So many different things, and like gambling has taken on like this whole other level of addiction, because I think it goes past like that sports gambling like you're talking about, or even going into a casino, because now it's like
You can literally bet on everything.
Yeah.
Like stuff that seems inconsequential.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can literally bet on everything.
I was watching this the other day on, I think it was John Oliver, last week tonight, and it's become like so much of a thing that it's like now there's like they were talking about like in the future like they might potentially be putting the ticker on the news, like saying what the over under is on like something happening or this being said. Like you can literally make a bet on anything.
I would like to bring up too, back then it was the bookie. Then it was sports books were banned in our country. And then they opened the door and kind of the floodgates opened up and expanded this, this basically curse for a lot of people, because you get stuck, you're trapped chasing your losses, and that's what I found.
Yep.
But you're lying to yourself and you're telling yourself, I'm going to make this money back. I'm going to make double of this. And then I'm going to, get out on top. And, a lot of the sites now, they're going towards the social casinos. Now, I don't know if you've seen those social casinos, Chumba Casino.
Chumba. Yeah,
all these
Chumba.
other casinos that are
Yeah.
opening the doors to people who have actually banned themselves from gambling. So even if you've banned yourself from one site or banned yourself statewide, you're still able to access these little social casino sites and gamble off of the spectrum of what's called gambling, because they've set themselves apart. And now you go into the whole Kalshi thing. They've set themselves apart by promoting themselves as like a stock market where you can bet throughout the game, based on how the game is going, and it fluctuates that way. So every single aspect is being covered, and it's kind of the question is, what's the next direction? Because they're exposing people who, they're doing recent studies on people who have ADD and ADHD. That's me, and they're promoting colors and special effects on websites to get you hooked.
Oh yeah, those people that are in advertising and marketing, like they 100% are gonna be researching to see like what's gonna draw the most attention. Like people with ADHD, what are they drawn to? Like, what's getting the most clicks? Like, all that stuff. So it's 100% a real thing. And I just want to add an extra caveat to it, because I think gambling's taken an even different turn, or I look at it this way. But if you look at the way that the market has shifted for trading cards, like, to me, that's its own set of gambling that people are like supremely invested in right now. I have, like, to see people literally clearing shelves of, like, grown men clearing shelves of Pokemon cards right now is like, for the hope that they can hit on something and then be able to sell it for big money. It's no different than any other
100%.
gambling that's happening out there. But I know it's a big issue for a lot of people. I mean, and I think the first question I want to ask from a Christian perspective, is gambling a sin?
That's a great question. I don't know that gambling is an outright sin in the way that lying, stealing, murder, adultery is, but I think it's oftentimes pushed or put into a category of sin just because of the nature of, you're basically leaving something up, to chance. You're investing in something, leaving it up to chance. It's like reduce it down to, like, okay, is buying a scratch ticket, is that a sin? Is playing, the Powerball, every so often, is that a sin? And I don't know that it's outright sinful as much as it's not healthy, it's not beneficial, and it can certainly lead to a sinful lifestyle, and it can definitely lead into, disaster. It's not good for you. So I think in some ways it could be considered sin because it's something that can destroy your life.
Yeah.
And us being made in the image of God, we want to present ourselves as such. And so I think in that way, Daniel, what did you just pull up? Basically what I said.
Yeah, basically what you said. I mean, it's not that, gambling itself is a sin, but it's the behaviors kind of that get associated with it, like the greed, the love of money, the poor stewardship, the lying, the cheating, all the stuff that kind of it opens the door to almost just naturally byproducts of this gambling, which turns into really addiction.
Yeah. That was literally the first thing that came to mind for me was poor stewardship. Like, that's like, you're just literally taking your money and throwing it away, and you're saying, God, you gave this to me, but, like, I want more than this, and I'm not going to trust in you. I'm going to trust in this lottery. Or I might even trust in this lottery and then pray to you that you're going to make that number hit for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think of, like, a lot of other things, like, there's something that's good that God's given us. He's given us that money, and we, as we typically do, we twist it and make it something that's really not good. And then that rabbit hole turns into this whole other thing where you're buying carrot pants and you don't know what's going on.
I will say, though, when I was at my darkest time, and I think we've all been there where we've prayed.
Do you want to tell a little bit about your story, Jake?
Yeah. So I will say, in college, I started gambling offshores, and I started with a roommate. We started just putting parlays in, small amounts, and then it became, finding a bookie who played on my soccer team, and he was, willing to take me on as a client. And then from there, it just spiraled outwards. I was, gambling money I didn't have, and I think a lot of people are in this predicament. But then after school, I felt like I had to fill the void. I didn't have God. I didn't have peace. God is the Prince of Peace, and I didn't have that. So, one day after losing a lot of money and not having anything, at one point I was just like jobless, didn't have any money. I was wasting all my unemployment checks because I had just left my construction job in the winter. And then I was just buying marijuana and sitting at home drinking, playing Keno, and then going home and playing daily fantasy sports. It was a pretty sad life. So I was like at a point where I didn't have anybody, and I was just praying, God, if you're real, come into my life. And then that's when, I was on the silly dating apps, and I actually met a Christian woman, Connie. And it's just funny how it all worked out.
Yeah.
You know, from the moment that I met her, I even told her this when I met her, and I was, you know, talking to a lot of girls, unfortunately, at the time. But I was like, I'm going to see you again. And she's like, no, you're not. You're never going to see me again. And
So she didn't answer your messages, and then she said, I'll never see you again.
Yeah, she said she'll never see me again.
Dude, you hit
So
gold, man.
I did.
You killed it. You went for the long game.
Yeah, and it's like the opposite of what you expect, you know, somebody's life to be. I'm so blessed, and I give it all to God. But it took me a while to get to that point because I was still selfish and stuck in my ways.
Yeah.
And even after we got married, and even after I got saved, it was like I was kind of living this double life. Just recently, 2 weeks ago, I just gave up gambling and I banned myself for 100 years, and on the daily fantasy sites. And I've
I want you to explain what that means.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
lost.
because you had texted that to me.
Correct.
And I think I know what it means,
Yeah.
but Daniel
Yeah,
definitely
I'm
is confused.
clueless.
So it's the self-exclusion, and it's actually a site that works with like people who are addicted. And I was playing on a couple of sites. Underdog Sports was the site that I was on, and they made it really easy. A lot of sites, they make it really difficult to ban yourself, which is one of the tactics that they have. But Underdog, I was like reading into it, and I just literally clicked a link, and it said like, would you like to, you know, exclude yourself from gambling? And I was like 100%. I was ready to do this. So I clicked it. I clicked submit, and then I put my social security number in, and literally now it said that I tried to log into my other accounts just to see, and I even showed Connie. I was like, I'm banned for 100 years.
Wow.
So you can next gamble in 21, 26.
Correct.
Okay.
Wow, dude.
Wow.
So
If carrot pants take off, you might find your 100 years of life.
it felt like a big weight was lifted off me, just like as any vice that you have. But now it's about finding things that are going to fill that void. And I think like
That's huge.
reaching out to community is a big part in what I do right now, is just trying to find people in God. I think we've talked about it 100 times, if not more, on this podcast. Like, you can see somebody's future based on who they basically hang out with and who they surround themselves with. And I'm really focused on just reaching out when I need help and support. And I have those buffers in place now to where I feel God's love closer.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Jake, really proud of you, dude.
Thanks, man.
That's like huge.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's huge to take that step and to really go after that, you know. So it's like what Pastor Brian was kind of starting to scratch the surface of a little bit last episode, you know, just kind of going for it and committing to it. You know, relating, I'm sure, to a little bit of his addiction story really jumped out to you. So that's great.
Thank you.
I'm so bummed I wasn't here for Brian. I'm so bummed.
So
But-
we're going to have him back.
We should.
Him
Yeah.
and Jake are going to do UFO conspiracies.
After he hits 40 hours
I
of
thought you were going to
aviation.
say they
Well,
would
'cause
do
he's-
UFC.
He's flying now.
Yeah?
He's learning how to fly. He's
Yeah.
getting his
Oh, wow,
pilot's
that's awesome.
license. And so, you know, he may have seen some things up there. So him and Jake are
Maybe
gonna-
I'll go up with him.
That's awesome.
You guys can go UFO sighting missions.
If you guys want to see that, you know, we can go live. Brian
Put it
and
on the-
Jake hashtag.
Go to Buy Me a Coffee if you want to see Jake
Oh my god.
in a plane with Brian.
I'm not jumping out, but I'll go on a I'll go on a
We're
flight.
gonna need $500 in donation.
Carrot pants on the flight.
But I do want to ask Jake, because I don't know how much of the story I know, but I know you and I have talked extensively about this. And I know that this isn't the first time that you've gotten to this point.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So like how many times have you felt like you've done this, and then what is it? Because I know we've talked about it. This time you said it feels different. So I want to know, how many times have you gone through this process, and then why is this time feel different?
Since I've been married, 4 or 5 years since I've known Connie, probably about like 10 to 15 times I've gotten to this point, and then I literally like start, you know, going and isolating, and then I'll be like, all right, that brought me peace, and it's not real peace. So I think like now that I'm diving into the word and I'm really understanding that if you don't have the word to rely on and to rest on, then you really don't have anything. So now I'm like, you know what? I think it's finally like, when you're running into a brick wall 100 times and you're like, you just keep running into the wall, and it's like, I think I've run out of bricks. So I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? I don't want, I'm here in this life to break generational curses. And I realize that, because my family's been so broken just from money and greed, and unfortunately, and I'm trying to be the best father I can on a daily basis. So what I'm doing might not affect them because they can't see it, but it's the spiritual effect that it has on in the vice that, in the way that you're leading your home.
Yeah.
And I realize that, and it's a serious consequence because it could mean losing your family. And, and the grace that Connie has, from her story, from the church hurt that she has, going back to everything, she has the most grace I've ever seen and anybody have in the world. And, to, lie to your spouse several times and then, go back on your lie. It's like you're playing with fire and you're going to lose your family. So I think now it's like, it's a wake up call. These kids are growing up so quick. And now, with the 3 kiddos running around, it's about me being more present and less about me and more about them, putting your identity in God and putting your identity in time with them. So that's kind of my focus now.
That's good, Jake.
Excellent.
That's great.
Man,
That's
this
great.
kid became a pastor right there.
Yeah, and I wanted to, because the brick wall analogy is great, because that's when we talk about vices and we talk about trying to get past this. I think that's a really, really good analogy. I also want to add in my aspect from a vice that I struggled with. So I had an issue with pornography, and I didn't even realize I had an issue with pornography. We went to the men's conference back in Plymouth.
Yeah, October.
Back in October. What was the name of the conference? I'm so bad, dude. I have such a bad memory.
Complete Man?
It might have been the Complete Man.
Complete Man. And you shared a testimony the first night, Ken. And so I went to this conference. I'd signed up for it. No expectation. Kind of just didn't really know why I was led to go there, but I just wanted to go. Got some of the other guys from church to go. And you shared the first night about basically almost the same situation that I was going through, where you had gone to a men's conference just like that.
Yeah.
And like you kind of didn't know why, and you had some things going on, and then it kind of just hit you. And you shared that you had gone home and kind of eventually like talked to your wife about it. And the same thing happened to me. I had this issue with pornography where I wasn't the brick wall. I was pretending that the wall wasn't there. So I pretended that I didn't have a problem. Like, this is something that I know I'm partaking in, but it's not an issue because I can stop whenever I want. I can stop it whenever I want.
You got it under control.
Yeah, I got it under control. It's not even a big deal. Like, it comes up every once in a while. Definitely not very often, but, so I'm doing better than most. You know what I mean? And then, but it was a real issue that I didn't even realize was literally rotting me from the inside out. And so after you shared that, I didn't go home that night and say anything to my wife. We got home late that first night, so I'm going to chalk it up to that. But that next day, I came home and I shared that with my wife. And you talk about Jake having a very gracious wife. I have an incredibly gracious wife to hear me out and to have a real open, honest, and direct conversation with her, and just to just put it all out there and just to confess it with my mouth what was happening. And we talk about it very often on this podcast, how if you want actual healing, you want to be redeemed, you want Christ to work in your life, to be able to confess it with your mouth, the things that are going on, I think is automatically needs to be that first step, because without that, like, I would have been in that same. I could have easily just acted like this wasn't an issue and just continued on my path, and then it's not an issue until it happens again.
Yeah.
And then it's only an issue for that whatever period of time, but whatever, that's all said and done, and until the next time, you know what I mean? So after that, though, I mean, I'll tell you the peace that has come with this, like it's like not even a thought anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a thing where I really did think I had it under control. I was for years, like every day, just watching pornography and partaking in it, and it was just all kinds of trauma that from when I was younger, like being exposed to pornography way too early in my life, like just vivid memories. And you've shared this before, and it's really nothing new to this podcast, but it's a real thing. Like, it's a real wound that you live with your entire life. But like men do, we always push that deep down inside. I don't have an issue. Like, this is not a problem for me. I have it under control. It's really not that big a deal. It's not affecting my life. It's not affecting anything until you find out it is actually affecting everything. Until you have those real conversations with the people that it's affecting, that can tell something's happening that you're not even aware of.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, is that all these vices have a deception.
Yeah.
And that's usually the deception, is that I'm in control.
Yeah.
But that's the lie, because typically I'm being controlled. I think back when I was a freshman at UMass, so we're going back a ways. Daniel, you can insert your whatever jokes you want right there. But I didn't even know a guy I used to play hockey with was there when I was there. I think he was a year ahead of me, so he was a sophomore, I'm a freshman. And I found out, like, he didn't stay on campus like more than like a few months into the semester. And I had found out that he was in it so deep to bookies that he had to leave campus, or else they were going to come and break his legs. So this is before online betting. This is before, it was mainstreamed. And some of the deception that I think about when it comes to that, and then you can also apply it to pornography, is that, like, oh, well, it's safer now. Because, like, oh, you're not dealing with the bookies anymore. It's safer. It's all legal. And so, people can place bets, and they don't have to worry about somebody coming to break their legs. But what's happening on the inside is still the same. Your legs might not be broken. That's great. But what's happening on the inside is still the same, where I'm giving in to these temptations of, really getting into the danger that you're talking about, of losing my family, my identity, myself, my kids, and all that, by getting in so deep that I don't know how to dig my way out. The same thing with the pornography thing, is that, like, oh, well, and people will say this, like, you're alone, and you're, in the safe confines, you're not hurting anybody, you're, it's not like you're out there committing adultery and things like that. And, you're just doing what you have to do, blow off steam, and all that. But what it does to your insides, and what it literally does to your brain, it actually alters your brain and your thinking, and gambling does the same thing. So this lie that, oh, as long as we just mainstream it and make everything legal, like, yeah, it'll be like a little peak at first, but then it will level out. No, because what it does to individuals who have greater access to it now, and then what it does to us as a society is scary. And I think about something that happened real recently. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but there was a U.S. soldier who was arrested for betting on Polymarket about if Nicolas Maduro was going to be, if they were going to invade Venezuela and be captured. And he bet, and I think he won like $400,000.
Over $400,000.
Just because he had the insider knowledge that, being a soldier, that, he had that intelligence that they were actually going to go and do it. So think about now you take that to sports, and you think about all the scandals that are, erupting out of sports, from players, coaches, referees that are, now involved with this because they can throw the game, or, whatever it is, take themselves out of the game. So what it does to us as a society is it can never be overstated. And the lie of legalizing it and mainstreaming it, and somehow that's going to help it. That's the same lie about legalizing and mainstreaming marijuana, that, oh, now you don't have to buy it, from some shady person on a corner. But what it does to you is still the same. What it's doing to your brain, they're doing studies right now that are saying how harmful marijuana is, especially the marijuana strains that they create now, to young people's brains.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, deception. There's always
Yeah.
a deception involved.
Yeah. I mean, you hear it. It's not addictive, but I need to smoke every day.
Yeah.
I gotta smoke. I can't do this.
It doesn't control me,
Yeah.
but I need it every day.
I mean, I think about Galatians 5 and 5:19, and it talks about the works of the flesh and
Yeah.
fornication, uncleanliness, lasciviousness, idolatry, sorcery, strife, jealousies, wraths. I mean, drunkenness, envyings. Like, I think when we talk about these vices, all of these things. Thank you for pulling that up. You're so good. You are so good at this.
Thanks, man.
Daniel.
I'm taking notes.
You're good too, Jake.
Yeah.
I'm just a little slower. We know that. Thanks, team.
But like, if
Jake
you,
would be on YouTube trying to find the verse.
when you follow the desires of your sinful nature, the results are very clear: sexual immorality, impurity, lustful pleasures, idolatry, sorcery, hostility, quarreling, jealousy, outbursts of anger, selfish ambition, dissension, division, envy, drunkenness, wild parties, and other sins like these. Let me tell you again, as I have before, that anyone living that sort of life will not inherit the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
It lays it out. And I think if you think about any of these vices, if you think about any single one of them, it fits that mold. It fits that mold.
100%.
Like, and the biggest one I think is idolatry, because you are just making this thing bigger
Yeah.
than God, because if you're chasing money because you're not trusting that God's going to take care of you financially. If you're partaking in drugs, well, you're not satisfied with whatever it is however your life is going or whatever it is that's going on, you need some type of escape. You're getting drunk. We're talking about drunkenness is in there. You talk about pornography. That's sexual immorality, lustfulness. Like, it's all in there. Every single one of them is in there, and yet we continue to chase after these things, and the flesh is going to chase after these things. How do we now, knowing that we're caught in this cycle, like, how do we break that cycle?
Well, can you pull that back up? So, it's interesting that it says the desires of the sinful nature, and then Paul lists them all.
Yeah.
So, in the end of the day, we can't blame Kalshi or whatever it's called,
Yeah,
Poly Market. You can't blame Pornhub. You can't blame just whatever, the marijuana industry, because they are. You can blame them, but what my point is that, these things existed before they did.
Yeah.
Because they exist within our sinful members, our flesh, right?
Great point.
So what they're doing is they're exploiting that, which the devil does.
Mm-hmm.
He has no real power over us other than to tempt,
Right.
So
Sin does the rest, and then we do the rest.
that's right. We do the rest. The temptation comes. The deception is there. They're exploiting. He's exploiting the devil. He's exploiting what's already there and has the potential to disobey
right.
God. So at the end of the day, like, I trust me, I have no sympathy, nor defense, nor support for any of those tempters. I think they're wicked. I think they should be wiped off the face of the earth. But this is the world that we live in.
Right.
So I think at the end of the day, we need to take personal responsibility. And I asked you to pull back up the verse because Paul starts with and I'm so glad, that he does it this way. He starts out with the desires of the flesh, but then he says, but the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives, So there is a defense against this. There is an offense against this, and it is the Holy Spirit inside of us. And fruit is the key word because that has to be cultivated. Sinful stuff doesn't have to really be cultivated. It's quick, easy gratification, quick deception, quick gratification, but fruit has to be cultivated. And so that means I have to be a participant. And the Holy Spirit is there, and he'll produce it, but I have to do some digging. I have to do some clearing, some weeding, some seeding, some watering. Like, I have to have my hands dirty and in there.
That's right.
I have to be a willing participant in that. And if I do, the Spirit will produce love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Self-control, I always wonder why it's last. I think in this day and age, I wish Paul put it first because it's...
Well, he saved the best for last.
He saved the best for last. Against these things, there is no law. So we're not bound. We don't do this because we have to. We do this because we are engaged in the Spirit and we want to walk in the Spirit. Paul, begins this whole thing with, if you go above the desires of the flesh, he says, walk in the Spirit and you will not fulfill the lusts of the flesh. So, I think that's our antidote to Jake's point about kind of replacing, and now where Jake's, where you're spending your time. I got to get into that word because the word's life-giving. That's one of the ways that I cultivate fruit in the Spirit is that, and so I think first is personal accountability, repentance, acknowledgement, admission, things that you're talking about, things that we're talking about, and then getting to work.
Yeah, that's right.
And if I would also like to point, I would be a liar if I said, I could do this all on my own. You can't.
No.
You have to reach out. You have to be accountable for what you've already done. That goes for pornography too. There's a lot of small groups, Timmy Alves runs one. Shout out to Timmy. Did me wonders when I was in that group. I was reaching out to him on a daily basis. And thankfully, with my life right now, the way that it is, I'm able to, be out and open with my wife and my spouse and communication, especially right now. Whenever you have one of these vices, you're blocking yourself off, and the stewardship portion of where you put your money will really bind you.
Yeah.
And we saw that, firsthand. It bound us.
Yeah.
And we can already see a difference.
I think you just have to recognize too that these are cycles. When you have this type of, if you have an addictive personality or you have like these types of things that you find yourself always falling back on that aren't necessarily good for you and good for and not aligned with God's word, I think you have to really recognize that, reflect on it, and you got to find your way out of it. Like, I know that I can go and buy a scratch ticket and scratch it and lose and say, all right, that's it, I'm good. Or win and say, all right, cool, I'm just going to hang on to this money and not have to buy 30 more scratch tickets. You know what I mean?
I would like to add that it feels better for a gambler to have $0 in his account than it does for him to have 1,000.
Because he knows he can't
Correct.
bet anymore. Yeah.
It's a weird shift in your mind and your heart.
Yeah.
And whenever you don't have it to gamble, it's like your peace. You get more peace from that.
Yeah. I think that's a nod to like telling you subconsciously telling yourself, maybe the Holy Spirit working in you, telling you like, this like the ups and downs aren't worth it. Like, let's just call it quits. But you got to recognize that, and I think you have to then do those other things that Kevin had just talked about. Like, you got to find a way to step away from that, and it goes into what you're saying. Surround yourself with good people that are going to tell you and call you out and say, hey, listen, here we are again. How many times, Jake, have I told you, like, you're caught in the cycle again?
Yeah.
Like, you need to, like, break the cycle. Like, you have to have people around you that are good, godly men or women to be able to really lift you up and be there and walk it out with you. Danny talks about it all the time. We got to walk this out together, right? Mm-hmm. Danny, do you have anything that you want to add on this topic?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's something that we often overlook, even though it is so something that is so prevalent these days. I think it's like, how do we walk this out tangibly in the day to day? And there's a lot of apps and a lot of things that can help you and put up safeguards, and I'm not against those things by any means, but I think for you it's that last one, self-control. I think if you can't learn and even cultivate, as Ken, you were just saying, cultivate the fruit of self-control in yourself, apps that block porn sites or, restrictions that ban you from one thing or another, they're great steps, and I think they're great ways to put up a quick wall. But that, I don't think will sustain you for the rest of your life. You have to continue to cultivate that self-control and cultivate that walk and understand, like Pastor Brian said, like recovery, how long is it? It's lifelong,
Lifetime, yeah.
It's lifetime. And I think that for all of us, we're all recovering in a different way from different sin struggles and addictions. And you have to continually, it's a work, Romans 12, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And it's like, that's something that we have to do continually and daily. We have to renew ourselves and transform these thoughts and these inner kind of wicked ways and sinful habits that we have, these sinful inclinations to just lean into our fleshly desires. And, I think on that Galatians part, if we just keep going down, verse 24 and 25, those who belong to Christ Jesus have nailed the passions and the desires of their sinful nature to his cross and crucified them there. Since we are living by the Spirit, let us follow the Spirit's leading in every part of our lives. And so, it's just learning to crucify those sinful desires of ours and nail it to the cross.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the cross that we know and we often declare and say paid the total price. So if we're nailing our sins and our fleshly desires to the cross, we're saying that it was fully paid for and there's nothing else that can be added or taken away. So when I nail it there, it's to be left there. It's not to be taken off again. And just walking that out with grace and humility and not doing it alone, being open, honest, and direct with, especially if you're married, being open, honest, and direct with your spouse throughout that process. If you're in a relationship, a dating relationship, don't wait to become spouses, to be open, honest, and direct. Start walking these things out in the context of these relationships, and then find your close ones. Find that community of people that you can rely on and lean on and who are going to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
I just want to touch, too, on something that Daniel said in regards to the verse and the last highlighted pink verse. What is that, 23?
22 and 23.
22 and 23. So in 23, where it says it talks about the fruits of the Spirit in 22 and 23, and then at the end of 23 says there's no law against these things. So when Daniel's talking about like apps and like different guardrails that people put in place to like help prevent them from doing, that's the law. You're putting something in place that's saying, no, you can't do this thing. And Paul talks about the law as a tutor that takes us so far until we're mature enough. And the reason there's no law against the fruits of the Spirit is because the whole point is that I would get to the point that I'm no longer in a place of saying I can't do this. I'm in the place of I don't want to do this anymore.
That's so good.
I don't want to do this anymore. And that, for some people, they might think that's crazy, because that's all they've really known is just like that lust of the flesh, is craving like that. But in the Spirit, it's possible.
That's right.
And that's why the fruit of the Spirit, these things that it cultivates, love, joy, peace, kindness, patience, all these things, there's no law against these things. In other words, like this is where you get to the I want this. I want peace in my life. I want purity in my life. And I don't want this any longer. Not that I can't do it. I still can. I don't want to anymore, though. That's a huge line to cross, and I think that is like, no matter where you are in the struggle, and I know people in various places, but that is a huge victory to be able to kind of cross that, and for that to really sink in, be like, okay, this is what I'm after now.
Right.
Not that I can't do this, I don't want to do this anymore.
That is a huge W.
Wow.
I just love the symbolism too of those verses, and you and Daniel both brought it up, like how active it is. Like, just to throw it back to the sinner's prayer episode, like, it's not just raising your hand and saying, of course God can take that away from you. He can take that feeling away from you. But he wants our active participation in removing this feeling to get to that point of, I don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
To have those fruits of the Spirit and say, I don't want this anymore. I have no lust for this anymore, whatever it is. Yeah, I think that the active part is huge. It's very, very prevalent. Very prevalent in that verse. Jake, do you have any last thoughts on this?
I think just shedding off the the old skin, as they say, and putting on the fresh armor of God. That's just an important motive that I've just kind of been in the direction of my life. I'm just I feel like I'm finally just living for God, and I've found peace. I've needed those buffers, thankfully I was able to ban myself, because for me, I didn't have the self-control to deal with that, unfortunately. So having that, being able to actually do that, took a weight off of my shoulders, and now I don't even feel like I need to go back.
That's a huge conviction, though. Anyway, to make it that
100%.
final and
Yeah.
say, you know what, I'm not going to live in the lie of like I can control this.
Yeah.
I'm just going to cut it. I'm
could-
going to cut the head of the
I
snake
couldn't
right
do
here.
it.
So
Couldn't.
that's a huge conviction
But
point.
I will say, like, the people that I'm in conversation with, they've done other routes, AA meetings, and you know, so there's other ways of doing this, but it just it needs it to be out in the open. It needs to be in the light to, you know, get rid of the darkness, because the darkness will eventually come to light.
Yeah,
Definitely.
And no matter how hard you hide it, that's it. It's going to come to light. And
that's right.
you know, it could be,
And it's always going to come to light in the worst possible
yes.
way. Like somebody's going to somebody that you care about is going to find out, and they're going to be even more upset with you that you hid
100%.
this from them this entire time.
Yeah.
What do you think about well, I don't want to open up a huge can, but maybe a small can of worms here, but the phrasing keeps coming to mind, addictive personality, because you'll hear like people will use that, and I'm not trying to diminish that, but at the same time, like when I read Galatians 5, you know, all those desires of the flesh are basically equal in all of us as far as potential, right? That all those things are in our sinful members, right?
Yeah.
So when somebody says like, oh, well, you don't know because you don't have an addictive personality like me.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that?
You're just putting a false pretense on your life. You're basically giving yourself a subject, and you're saying, that's me. You're giving yourself a definition before actually speaking the truth. And I think I was using that for a while as a vice to cope with it. And honestly, it was catching up. And I was continuously figuring out ways and meticulously thinking of, you know, ways I could do this without, you know, with leaving everything behind. That's how addicted I was. So, you know, it's a scary, scary path that you can go down, and it's the enemy 100%.
I think that almost parallels like the people that, like, to kind of throw back to another one of our episodes, but the LGBTQ discussion, right? It almost throws back to like I feel like a man, so I am like I am a man. You know what I mean? And it's like I feel like I have an addictive personality, so that's who I am. You can't tell me otherwise because you don't understand what it's like. Because you know what I mean. So it almost parallels that thought process to me.
Yeah, because you hear that a lot, and it just, you know, without being super judgy about it, it never really sat well with me, because I think it's just you're kind of defining yourself, and you're really painting yourself into a corner here, and like basically saying, well, I have to do this, you know, I can't escape this because I have this addictive personality. You don't have that, so you don't know what it's like. But again, looking at Galatians 5, I know all, you know, the temptation of all these things, because we all do.
Right.
There's really no distinction, you know, with us. Certainly, there's certain things that may exploit certain, you know, sinful desires more than others, you know, just background, you know, upbringing, whatever.
Right. But
at the same time, you know, we're all prone to any of this.
Yeah. Good word. Do you have a KTT?
Well, any booth thoughts before we get to KTT?
Yeah, so I think something that I think about a lot is Romans 7. And I think when, like, you're struggling with something, I was always like, why am I doing this? Like, what is causing me to do this? Like, I know the law, not the law, but I know the word. I know that Jesus is Lord, but, like, why is my flesh craving all this so much? Why do I want to keep doing this? And so when I come across Romans 7:21, I have discovered this principle of life, that when I want to do what is right, I never inevitably do what is wrong. I love God's law with all my heart, but there is another power within me that is at war with my mind. This power makes me a slave to the sin that is still with me. And so when I read this, it's kind of like, it hits home, because that's exactly what I'm dealing with. Like, why is it that I want to do all this? And so later he goes on, Paul writes, the answer is in Jesus Christ our Lord. So you see how it is. In my mind, I really want to obey God's law, but because of my sinful nature, I'm a slave to sin. And so he gives us the answer right there. It's in Jesus Christ. You can put up all these like preventions, but if you're putting preventions but you're not actively seeking Jesus, it's like you're gonna fall right back into whatever it is that you're trying to do, trying to escape. So that's something that sticks out to me a lot.
That's good.
Hashtag get Johnny on the couch.
Yeah.
And that, my friends, is a JTT,
That's a JTT.
for tonight. So KTT not needed.
Oh, man. Great. That was great, Johnny. We got to get him up on a Sunday, dude. Just share a word on a Sunday, Johnny.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's nothing, Johnny.
It's
He'll get
nothing,
there.
dude.
He'll get there.
I'm only going to heckle you a little bit from the back row.
But couch would be first, though.
Yeah.
And there's the human cry keeps going out,
Yeah.
and so we have to.
Once we hit $500,
or 500 subscribers.
$500 or 500 subscribers,
Or
whichever
100
one's
carrot
first.
pants.
100 pairs of carrot pants. Daniel, did you have any last word? Or are we good?
No, I wanted to say Jake on the couch did not disappoint on all fronts. I think he brings the humor, but Jake, you brought a lot, and dude, it's honestly been such a blessing. I know for me, growing in relationship with you, but also just seeing your growth and your development as both a man and just as a person. You know, just getting to know you throughout this whole process. I think you've really grown and are learning and developing in maturity, and it's really been awesome to see. So just proud of you. Keep doing your thing, and yeah.
I want to say one more thing.
Oh, here he goes. He's gonna tank everything I
that
just
That was
said.
the nicest thing that Daniel's ever
Thank
said.
you, Daniel.
You lit a fuse.
That's so nice.
You honestly just filled my heart.
Love you, man.
Thank you. But you know, I think God comes to people in mysterious ways, and God works in mysterious ways. You know, if you're really going through something right now, you know, we talked about it in the last episode. Brian brought up prayer. You really have to pray.
That's right.
You have to go to prayer. You have to go to God and get on your knees. That's step one. But, you know, you can look at everyone around you and look at your life and say, I'm not where that person is, or I'm not where that person is. And I think that's where social media does people
Right.
wrong and does people dirty. But I think we need to really hone in and focus. You know, we're all at our own points in our life, and we're in each other's life for a reason. And we just need to be focused on our self-growth.
Right.
Don't focus on where somebody else is and where their life is, because we're all a mess. At the end of the day, we're picking up our cross on a daily basis, and it's the hardest walk that we're ever going to have.
That's right. Good point, Jake. Don't do the comparison game. Walk your own walk. Yeah. Good point, Jake. Good point.
Walk like a man, talk like a man.
Who's that? Frankie Valli?
It's one of them old schoolers.
Yeah. I'm a big time Frankie Valli guy.
Okay.
Big time Frankie Valli guy.
Well, and you make fun of me.
You're a poomer.
I'm a Puma.
And you make fun of me for Harry Connick Jr. Jeez, Frankie Valli.
Yeah, Frankie Valli's iconic, dude.
3 generations
That's
before.
Henry Connick Jr. to you.
I don't know if I could name a Harry Connick Jr. song. I could probably name about 5.
Do the Star Spangled Banner.
That one time. That one time. All right, guys. This episode has been great. This was a really good discussion. Jake, happy to have you out here. Glad we had you out here for this one. This was right in your Q zone, dude. You knocked it out of the park.
Let's get those comments for John on the couch.
Yeah, get those
If you're in
comments.
favor,
Yeah.
get those comments flowing.
Hashtag Johnny on the couch, I think is a good hashtag. Don't forget to like, review, subscribe, share us with a friend. We need that 500 subscribers or $500. We need to make carrot pants.
That's
We need to get Sphinctery off the ground. And until next time,
love and peace.
Peace and love.
carrot pants.
Yes, Jake.
Carrot pants.
Sponsored by Carrot Pants.
Denzel, Jake, we need to discuss the names of your cats.
Did he text you?
Yeah, 9:01 p.m. He must have felt it. I read that and just had the biggest smile. But I'm like,
The Not Safe for Sunday podcast is recorded in the loft. Our production team is Spencer Berriman, Jacob McCall, and John Walsh. You can find us on social media at NSFS Podcast. If you'd like to join us for a Sunday service, you can find us at Conquerors for Christ Church, located at 972 Reed Road in North Dartmouth, Massachusetts.